Ladies and gentlemen, love is an unpredictable force, one that inspires both joy and suffering. In the modern world, where swipes replace glances and texts replace conversations, we often feel lost in the pursuit of love. Yet, timeless wisdom teaches us that while love itself may be uncertain, our approach to it does not have to be. In the search for love, many people place their happiness in the hands of others, allowing external factors to dictate their emotions and self-worth. They agonize over whether someone texts them back, whether they are attractive enough, or whether they will ever find the right partner. Yet this attachment to external validation leads only to anxiety, frustration, and a sense of helplessness. The reality is that much of modern dating is beyond our control. We cannot force someone to feel a certain way about us, nor can we guarantee that any relationship will last forever. However, what we can control is how we approach love, how we respond to its challenges, and how we conduct ourselves in the pursuit of meaningful connection. A person who internalizes this mindset does not waste energy worrying about things outside their influence. Instead of obsessing over why someone did not reply to a message, or why a date did not go as planned, they focus on the one thing within their grasp: their own actions. They refine their character, strengthen their self-awareness, and learn to present themselves authentically, without pretense or manipulation. They understand that attraction is not a formula to be cracked, but a natural alignment that either happens or does not, and no amount of stress or strategizing can change that. By shifting attention inward, one begins to realize that true confidence does not come from external approval, but from the mastery of one's own thoughts and emotions. The fear of rejection dissipates when we stop seeing it as a personal failure and start recognizing it as a neutral event, something that says more about the other person's preferences and circumstances than about our inherent worth. The desire to impress or please others at the cost of our authenticity fades when we understand that no amount of pretending can create genuine love. A person who embraces this philosophy does not beg for affection or chase those who are indifferent to them. Instead, they choose to show up fully as themselves, knowing that the right person will recognize and appreciate their presence. In modern dating, the unpredictability of human emotions often leads people to cycles of hope and disappointment. Someone may seem interested one day and distant the next. Messages may be left unanswered without explanation. A promising relationship may fall apart for reasons we do not understand. If one bases their happiness on these external events, they will constantly be at the mercy of others, feeling elated when things go well and devastated when they do not. However, by focusing on what they can control, their mindset, their resilience, their willingness to move forward, they regain their power. They refuse to be victims of circumstance, choosing instead to adapt, learn, and grow with each experience. It is tempting to believe that love is something we must chase or earn, but in reality, it is something we align ourselves with by becoming the best version of ourselves. A person who is at peace with who they are radiates a quiet confidence that is naturally attractive. They do not seek validation because they already possess self-worth. They do not fear solitude because they have learned to be content with their own company. And when they do enter a relationship, they do so not out of desperation, but from a place of strength and clarity. The world of dating will always be uncertain, full of twists, turns, and unanswered questions. But the person who focuses only on what they can control remains steady, unmoved by the fleeting highs and lows. They understand that while they may not have control over who stays or who leaves, they have full control over how they choose to show up, how they respond, and how they continue to grow. Detaching from outcomes is one of the most powerful mindsets a person can adopt in dating and relationships. In a world where people constantly seek certainty, approval, and validation, the idea of letting go of expectations may seem counterintuitive. Many enter the dating scene with a rigid vision of how things should unfold, expecting an immediate connection, hoping for a flawless romance, or fearing rejection as a personal failure. This attachment to results creates unnecessary anxiety, disappointment, and even self-doubt. However, when one learns to detach from outcomes, they shift their focus from what they cannot control to what truly matters: their actions, mindset, and personal growth. A person who is overly attached to outcomes will find themselves in a constant state of emotional turbulence. If a date does not go well, they will dwell on what they did wrong. If someone does not reciprocate their feelings, they will question their worth. If a relationship does not unfold as expected, they will resist reality, wishing things were different rather than accepting what is. This emotional attachment leads to suffering because it is rooted in the false belief that happiness depends on external circumstances. In truth, no single relationship, text message, or romantic interaction defines a person's value. The ability to remain centered regardless of external results is what ultimately leads to lasting peace and confidence. Detaching from outcomes does not mean one stops caring about love or avoids relationships altogether. It simply means that one approaches dating with a sense of openness and curiosity rather than fear or desperation. It is the difference between enjoying a conversation for what it is versus stressing about whether it will lead to something more. It is the difference between expressing interest in someone honestly versus overanalyzing every interaction in hopes of securing a specific result. When a person no longer clings to a particular outcome, they allow themselves to be fully present, free from the mental weight of what if and what next. This mindset shift also transforms the way rejection is perceived. Instead of seeing rejection as a painful blow to the ego, one begins to understand that it is simply a natural part of life, nothing more than an indication that a particular connection was not meant to be. Rather than trying to force a relationship that is not aligned, a detached person accepts the situation and moves forward with grace. They recognize that no single person or relationship is responsible for their happiness. They do not chase, beg, or cling to what is slipping away. They trust that what is meant for them will stay, and what leaves was never truly theirs to hold. Ironically, detachment often makes one more attractive. When someone radiates a sense of self-sufficiency and emotional stability, they become naturally appealing. There is no desperation in their actions, no hidden agenda in their words, just an authentic presence that draws others in. They do not need validation because they already feel whole within themselves. They do not rush relationships because they understand that genuine connections take time to develop. They do not fear being alone because they see solitude as an opportunity for growth rather than a void to be filled. People often sabotage potential relationships by overthinking and trying to control every detail. They worry about saying the right thing, making the right move, or playing the right game. But true connection cannot be manufactured or manipulated. It must flow naturally. By detaching from outcomes, one removes unnecessary pressure, allowing love to unfold in its own time and form. They do not measure success by whether they achieve a specific goal, but by whether they remain true to themselves throughout the process. In doing so, they free themselves from fear, disappointment, and frustration, embracing the reality that love, like life, is best experienced without clinging to what cannot be controlled. Rejection is often seen as something to be feared, avoided, or even taken personally. It stirs feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and disappointment, making people question their worth and desirability. In the world of modern dating, where swipes, messages, and fleeting interactions are common, rejection can feel even more relentless. However, those who embrace a different perspective, one that views rejection as redirection rather than failure, free themselves from unnecessary suffering. They begin to understand that rejection is not a reflection of their value, but simply a sign that a particular path was not meant for them. Many people struggle with rejection because they attach their happiness and self-esteem to external validation. When someone they admire does not reciprocate their feelings, they see it as proof that they are not good enough. When a promising relationship suddenly ends, they view it as a personal shortcoming. This mindset leads to a dangerous cycle of seeking approval and fearing loss, keeping them emotionally dependent on the unpredictable reactions of others. But the truth is, no one person determines another's worth. A rejection from one individual does not diminish the qualities that make someone unique, valuable, and worthy of love. By shifting perspective, one can begin to see rejection as a form of redirection, an opportunity to be guided towards something better suited for them. When a door closes, it is not a punishment but a sign that the path forward lies elsewhere. Instead of wasting energy mourning what was not meant to be, one can focus on what is yet to come. A rejection that feels painful in the moment may later be recognized as a necessary step toward a deeper, more fulfilling connection. It may protect a person from investing in a relationship that would have ultimately led to unhappiness. It may open space for personal growth, allowing time to refine one's desires, values, and readiness for love. This mindset also transforms the way people interpret rejection. Instead of assuming that they were not good enough, they recognize that compatibility is a complex and deeply personal matter. A person may reject someone not because they lack value, but simply because their needs, experiences, and emotional capacities do not align. Just as one does not feel a deep connection with every person they meet, it is natural for others to feel the same. Viewing rejection in this way removes the emotional sting and allows one to accept it with grace rather than resentment. Embracing rejection as redirection also prevents people from settling for relationships that do not truly serve them. Some, out of fear of being alone, hold on to connections that are lukewarm, one-sided, or unfulfilling. They ignore red flags, suppress their true needs, and compromise their standards just to avoid the discomfort of rejection. But in doing so, they block themselves from discovering something greater. A rejection today may be the very thing that prevents someone from staying in a relationship that would have drained them, distracted them, or stunted their personal growth. It may be the catalyst that pushes them towards something far more aligned with their values, personality, and life goals. When a person learns to accept rejection with wisdom and resilience, they stop viewing it as a loss and start seeing it as a lesson. They understand that every rejection brings clarity. It helps refine their understanding of what they truly want, who they are compatible with, and what kind of love they deserve. Rather than dwelling on the past or forcing something that is not meant to be, they move forward with confidence, trusting that life is leading them in the right direction. The pain of rejection fades when one realizes that it is never an ending, but a necessary step towards something better. In a world that often prioritizes surface-level attraction, it is easy to fall into the trap of valuing appearance over character. Social media, dating apps, and modern culture constantly reinforce the idea that beauty is the most important factor in love and relationships. People are judged in mere seconds based on their looks, and external appeal is often mistaken for deeper compatibility. While physical attraction is natural and important, it is fleeting. What truly sustains a meaningful connection is character, the depth of a person's values, integrity, and the way they navigate life. Many people chase beauty without considering the substance behind it. They idealize someone based on appearance, convincing themselves that external attractiveness equates to a fulfilling relationship. Yet time and experience often prove otherwise. A person may be visually striking but lack emotional depth, kindness, or reliability. They may turn out to be self-centered, dishonest, or unable to form a deep bond. When attraction is not accompanied by strong character, the initial excitement fades, leaving behind disappointment and disillusionment. The foundation of real connection is not built on aesthetics, but on the traits that make someone a worthy partner: kindness, loyalty, emotional maturity, and the ability to grow alongside another. Character dictates how a person treats others, responds to challenges, and engages in relationships. A physically attractive person who lacks emotional intelligence, respect, or sincerity will eventually cause frustration and unhappiness. On the other hand, someone who possesses integrity, patience, and a strong moral compass becomes more attractive over time. A relationship built on character fosters trust, security, and a deep emotional bond that cannot be replicated by surface-level attraction alone. Looks may draw people together initially, but it is character that determines whether a relationship can endure. Modern dating culture often promotes instant gratification, encouraging people to make quick judgments based on appearance, while neglecting the qualities that truly matter. Many relationships that begin with physical attraction alone do not last because there is no deeper compatibility. When faced with adversity, conflict, or the natural evolution of time, those relationships crumble without a strong foundation. A person who values character above appearance seeks something more meaningful. They look beyond physical beauty and focus on whether someone has the values, mindset, and emotional strength to build a lasting partnership. Choosing to prioritize character also leads to healthier and more fulfilling relationships. When attraction is based on looks alone, relationships often become fragile, dependent on external validation and superficial compatibility. But when a bond is rooted in mutual respect, shared principles, and emotional depth, it becomes resilient. A person with strong character will support their partner through life's challenges, communicate with honesty, and contribute to a relationship in a way that is meaningful and lasting. They will not abandon the relationship when difficulties arise, nor will they base their commitment on fleeting attraction. Additionally, valuing character over appearance leads to better self-worth and relationship choices. When someone prioritizes external beauty, they may constantly compare themselves to unrealistic standards, feeling insecure or inadequate. They may also attract partners who are only interested in superficial qualities rather than their true self. However, when character is the focus, a person naturally attracts others who appreciate them for who they are rather than how they look. They build relationships based on genuine connection rather than external validation, creating a love that is based on mutual respect and deep understanding. Over time, physical attraction evolves and external beauty fades. What remains is the essence of a person: their kindness, their wisdom, their ability to bring joy and stability to a relationship. A strong character creates a love that deepens with time, rather than one that weakens as physical appeal changes. Those who seek lasting love understand that while looks may capture attention, it is character that captures the heart. Many people enter relationships believing that love will complete them, fill their emptiness, or solve their problems. This belief, while romanticized in movies and stories, often leads to dependency, insecurity, and disappointment. True fulfillment does not come from another person but from within. Cultivating self-sufficiency is the key to building strong, healthy relationships because it ensures that one's happiness, sense of purpose, and emotional well-being are not entirely reliant on a partner. When a person learns to be content and whole on their own, they enter relationships from a place of strength rather than need. Self-sufficiency does not mean isolation or rejecting companionship. It means developing the ability to stand on one's own, emotionally, mentally, and even practically. It is about finding joy in solitude, pursuing personal growth, and ensuring that one's identity is not solely defined by a romantic relationship. Many people make the mistake of attaching their self-worth to whether they are loved or desired by another. They believe that a relationship is the ultimate source of happiness, and that being alone is a sign of failure. However, this mindset creates unhealthy attachments, where love is pursued out of fear rather than genuine connection. A self-sufficient person understands that love is not about filling a void but about sharing an already fulfilling life with someone else. They recognize that while relationships can enhance happiness, they should never be the sole source of it. They develop a strong sense of self by investing in their own passions, friendships, and personal growth. They cultivate inner peace so that they do not seek constant reassurance or validation from others. When challenges arise, they do not collapse under the weight of emotional dependence but navigate difficulties with resilience and clarity. Self-sufficiency also prevents people from staying in relationships that no longer serve them. Those who rely entirely on a partner for emotional stability often tolerate mistreatment, dishonesty, or incompatibility out of fear of being alone. They ignore red flags and sacrifice their own needs just to maintain the relationship. But when a person is self-sufficient, they do not cling to love out of desperation. They understand that their happiness does not depend on any one person, and they have the confidence to walk away from relationships that do not align with their values or well-being. By being emotionally independent, one also becomes a better partner. People who rely too much on a relationship for their happiness often place unrealistic expectations on their partner, demanding constant attention, affirmation, or emotional support. This pressure can create strain and imbalance, making love feel more like an obligation than a choice. However, when both individuals in a relationship are self-sufficient, they come together as equals, supporting each other without overwhelming dependence. Their love is based on mutual respect rather than neediness, and their relationship thrives because it is built on choice rather than fear. Self-sufficiency also fosters deeper confidence and security. When a person is not reliant on external factors for their sense of worth, they become less affected by rejection, breakups, or disappointments. They do not see love as their only source of fulfillment, but as one aspect of a rich and meaningful life. This mindset allows them to enter relationships with a sense of peace, knowing that if things do not work out, they will still be okay. They embrace love with openness rather than anxiety, and this calmness makes them more attractive, both to themselves and to others. Ultimately, self-sufficiency is about creating a life that is fulfilling, with or without a partner. It is about becoming a person who is content in solitude, confident in their own worth, and capable of facing life's challenges without relying on someone else to provide stability. When love is built on this foundation, it becomes something far greater in addition to an already meaningful existence, rather than a desperate attempt to fill an emotional gap. Love, when pursued with wisdom, becomes a source of strength, fulfillment, and growth. When pursued with desperation, it often leads to heartbreak, anxiety, and disappointment. Many people enter relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of missing out, or fear of not being enough. This desperation causes them to lower their standards, ignore red flags, and settle for connections that do not truly serve them. Instead of seeking love as a means of validation or security, one must approach it with clarity, patience, and self-respect. Loving with wisdom means understanding that a relationship should complement one's life, not define it. Desperation distorts judgment. It causes people to overlook incompatibilities, hoping that love alone will fix deep-rooted issues. It leads them to chase unavailable partners, cling to relationships that no longer work, and compromise their own well-being just to keep someone close. This kind of love is rooted in scarcity, the belief that love is rare and that losing it means losing happiness. However, true love is never built on fear or urgency. It is not something to be grasped at desperately, but something that unfolds naturally when two people align in values, respect, and emotional maturity. Loving with wisdom requires emotional discipline. It means not rushing into relationships out of loneliness or impulsivity. It means taking the time to understand oneself first, one's needs, boundaries, and personal values before expecting another person to fulfill them. When love is approached with self-awareness, one no longer settles for surface-level attraction or fleeting passion, but seeks something deeper and more meaningful. There is no need to force or manipulate situations because one understands that the right relationship will not require constant struggle or anxiety to maintain. A person who loves wisely does not fear solitude. They recognize that being single is not a punishment, but an opportunity for self-growth. They do not enter relationships to escape loneliness, but because they have found someone who genuinely adds value to their life. This mindset prevents the kind of attachment that stems from insecurity, where a person becomes overly dependent on their partner for happiness. Instead, they build relationships based on mutual respect, where both individuals choose to be together, rather than feel trapped by the fear of being alone. Desperation in love often leads to losing oneself in a relationship. Many people give up their interests, friendships, and individuality in an attempt to keep their partner happy. They become overly accommodating, afraid that asserting their own needs will drive the other person away. But loving with wisdom means maintaining one's own identity and independence. A strong relationship does not require self-sacrifice to the point of losing personal integrity. Instead, it thrives when both individuals support each other's growth without feeling the need to control or change one another. Patience is another key element of wise love. Desperation makes people settle for the first available option, rather than waiting for a connection that truly aligns with them. It leads to impulsive decisions, getting into relationships too quickly, ignoring gut instincts, or rushing commitment before genuine compatibility has been established. But wise love understands that meaningful relationships take time to build. It does not demand immediate gratification, but trusts the process of getting to know someone deeply before making significant commitments. Loving wisely also means recognizing when to let go. Many people hold on to failing relationships out of fear of starting over, fear of heartbreak, or fear of the unknown. They cling to the past, hoping things will change, even when all signs point to the contrary. But wisdom teaches that love is not about holding on at all costs. It is about knowing when a relationship no longer serves one's growth and having the courage to walk away with grace. True love is not about possession but about connection, and if that connection is no longer mutual or fulfilling, it is wiser to part ways rather than stay out of fear. Ultimately, loving with wisdom is about approaching relationships from a place of inner strength rather than emotional neediness. It is about choosing a partner who aligns with one's values, rather than desperately trying to make a relationship work with someone who is not truly compatible. It is about respecting oneself enough to walk away from love that is unbalanced, forced, or unhealthy. Love should enhance life, not diminish it. When approached with wisdom, love becomes something beautiful, an experience rooted in trust, respect and genuine connection, rather than fear and desperation. Loving wisely is not about withholding emotions or fearing vulnerability. It is about approaching love with clarity, strength, and self-respect. It means recognizing that true love does not require chasing, forcing, or sacrificing one's own well-being. Instead, it flourishes naturally when two people align in values, trust, and emotional maturity. By letting go of desperation and embracing patience, self-sufficiency, and wisdom, we allow love to unfold in its purest form, one that is chosen freely rather than clung to out of fear. In the end, the love that is meant for us will never require us to lose ourselves to keep it.